Warning: this program contains strong language, auditory violence, and mental nudity. It is intended only for mature audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Prepare yourselves. The bells have tolled. Shelter your weak, your young, and your old. Each of you shall pay the final sum. Cry for mercy. The reckoning has come.
Welcome to your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions. This is Unshackled Fury.
The reckoning is indeed at hand, in more ways than one. While we open our anniversary gifts to find a bit of an off smell. So welcome back for episode 155 of your uncensored home for World of Warcraft news and opinions, Unshackled Fury. I'm your host, Berzerker, and with me once again is the man who knows the difference between your and your. He is Mr. Jez Gordon. Welcome back again, good sir.
Hey, man. Rock and roll, baby. All right, so for those listening, I have got some kind of virus right now, so I apologize in advance if I sound nasally or low energy. But we will persevere, much like just pretend I'm forsaken or undead for this episode. And
You're already getting in a character for Halloween.
sure.
That's really what this is about.
That's
Sure.
what it is. Yeah.
That's what it is.
I'm blighted.
Well, you're testing it out on our behalf. I appreciate that. So we're back after a 3-week break, as we talked about last time. And Jez, I think since the last time you've celebrated a birthday, I recall.
Yes, I did. I completely forgot, to be honest.
Yeah. Did you do anything special for your birthday?
I was like, wait, what? Birthday? I was like, oh yeah, I did have a birthday.
Whose birthday?
Yeah, my girlfriend made me the chocolate celebration cake from the Warcraft cookbook.
Ooh.
Become like an annual tradition now. And if you've never made it, I highly recommend it, although not good for dieting, because it's probably like 2,000 calories per slice. Very American coded. It's so sugary and chocolatey, but it's heaven, man. It's like chocolate
us.
base with a chocolate cream filling, and then more chocolate base, and then more chocolate cream filling with strawberries on top.
Mm-hmm.
It's illegally tasty, so I do recommend it. But yeah, I didn't do much. Kind of got to that age now where it's just another day, you know.
Just another day.
Still had to do work, still had to do all the usual stuff, you know, but hey ho.
That's the true sign of adulthood.
Yeah.
Gotta work on your birthday. I always take my birthday off. Like I have a summertime birthday, and so growing up I always got it off for school. And then once I became an adult and then things started bad things always happen at work on my birthdays. Like, you know what, fuck this. I'm saving one vacation day a year, and I'm just gonna make sure I take my birthday off because it's always crap and it ruins my birthday.
I will say that one cool thing about my company is that we do get our birthday off, but we prefer like a free birthday, which is very nice and I appreciate very much. However, I was just so busy. There was no way I could enjoy the free day off this year. But it's that time of year, man.
Yeah.
And at work with tons of games coming out and Black Friday coming up, and there was a Prime Day in October as well, which was really busy.
Yep.
But yeah, we we sort of crawl towards December, where things hopefully start getting quieter in December. You know, Black Friday's over, everyone's finished their Christmas shopping, no more games come out, and all Microsoft goes on vacation for like a whole month. So I will be also hibernating by then.
Look at you. Yeah. Well, speaking of which, like last time, this episode will also be the last for the next 3 weeks, because we're going to skip a week because of something we're going to talk about a little bit later. Just scheduling wise, that didn't make sense to go 2 weeks. So the next episode will be in another 3 weeks, and then scheduled depending. I just banged my elbow on my desk. One more episode after that, probably December 1st, and then that will be our last episode for the year before we take a little well-deserved respite from this podcast landscape for a little bit. And I'm sure there's going to be some fun stuff there. But between here and there, Jez, I have another stellar, stupendous, amazing, fantastic, groundbreaking, earth-shattering metal album of the week.
Yeah.
And I will be stunned if you don't know this one, because this one is, I swear, people's grandmothers have at least heard one track off of this one. Hailing back from the 90s, released on August 25th, 1998. Hellbilly Deluxe, 13 Tales of Cadavers Cavorting Inside the Spook Show International by the one and only Rob Zombie.
I know of Rob Zombie. I've never really listened to Rob Zombie, though, I have to admit.
The three primary tracks that I think people have heard on this in some form or another are Dragula, Living Dead Girl, and Super Beast. And these things have been featured in all kinds of shit all over the place. So I guarantee if you may not know the album by name, you will definitely recognize at least one of these three tracks, because they've just saturated pop culture probably forever. But this was Rob's first album after White Zombie. So folks might know White Zombie being another fantastic metal band, and this is his first foray after that group broke up, disbanded, pick your phrase. But there's a lot of really classic, spooky, Halloween-y type stuff on this. Halloween-y, that's a funny word. There's all kinds of, thematic elements that are appropriate for this time of year, especially with Halloween coming up. So if you have not jammed that into your ear holes anytime recently, I highly recommend it. Rob Zombie, who some folks may also know as a horror movie director, and he had a trilogy of films related to the Firefly family, House of a Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, and Three from Hell, along with a Halloween revival that he did, and I think he might have done one or two others. But Devil's Rejects, for my money, probably my favorite horror movie of all time. I've watched it so many times. It's infinitely quotable. It's super fucked up, and the soundtrack is just this glorious mix of like 70s pop folks shit. It's so unique and strange, but I truly love that movie. So if you've never seen that, you don't have to see the other ones. Just watch that one, and it's great.
I haven't seen that either. I've heard of it, though.
Oh my god, it's super fucked up, but it's really great. And they're like the most messed up characters, but in some way you're still rooting for them, and you'll never look at clowns the same way once again. And Tutti fucking Fruity will enter your lexicon in a way that you just haven't expected up until now. I feel like
I feel like a lot of people of a certain age have a clown phobia. Is it because of this movie?
It's probably mostly because of two movies. One being It, which was the original one that they did way back. I think it was like the late 80s. But also, for those of us of a certain age, the scariest movie for me personally, like the one that like makes me like have nightmares, is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh,
that is.
Did you know that
so beyond fucked up?
They made a video game about that recently.
I recall something about that, and I think I just ran screaming for the hills because that movie's fucked up.
My friend works on that game.
Oof. Really?
Yeah, he loves it.
Well,
but yeah, that's cool, man. I've been getting into. I don't know. Did we talk about it on this show? Maybe it was your recommendation. I can't remember. But I've been getting into Devin Townsend recently.
Haven't talked about that. No.
Dropping Young Lad. Have you heard of that band?
Oh, you and I chatted about that on Discord real quick.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'd heard them like back in the day, and I was like here and there, but for some reason, I think it was before Spotify existed, so it was like a LimeWire thing. And and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that. We talked about it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna check them out properly, and I have, and now I'm absolutely obsessed with Devin Townsend, like everything he does. Strapping Young Lad, Alien, so that's my album of the week. throwing that in there.
Nice. Listen, get a 2-for-1 on the show as often as we can. That's fantastic. But I was gonna ask, do you have a favorite horror movie, Jez?
I do actually. Well, the thing is, when people ask me questions like that, right, I try to always say the first thing that comes into my head, right? And when you said favorite movie, I heard my brain immediately go to a movie called Session 9. Have you heard of that?
Oh yeah. With that's is that Neil Blomkamp?
I'm not sure who the director is, but I'll just look it up real quick because I'm sitting here on my computer. But yeah. Session 9 is it's directed by Brad Anderson. And
Brad Anderson. Maybe I'm thinking. What am I thinking?
I know. I kind of know what you're thinking of, or I can't think of the title of it. But Session 9 came out in 2001, and it's one of the movies that is credited with inspiring Silent Hill or something. Or aspects of Silent Hill. So it's set in a mental hospital, and it's a psychological horror. I really love psychological horrors generally. So it's kind of in that vein. Very, very visceral, in your head, paranoia, all that kind of shit. I love that kind of stuff with horror movies when it's a little bit more grounded, a little bit more I don't know, character study kind of stuff. So yeah, that'd be mine. But I do like the monstery kind of ones too. I really like The Thing. Thing is a favorite of mine. I really like the Alien movies. I haven't seen Alien Romulus yet, but I really want to. I like all horror movies, like even the bad ones. Me and my girlfriend watch a lot of my girlfriend's really into sharks, right? She loves sharks. So we've seen just mountains of terrible shark movies. there are so many. It's like it's almost be its own genre or something, man. But yeah, that's me. What about you? Do you have do you want beside the Rob Zombie one? Devil's Reject?
I would say I would have to go back to like the old school because I was raised on Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Dream Warriors and Jason Takes Manhattan and shit like that. I mean, they're terrible. You go back to like the original Friday the 13th and it's so unlike all of the other ones. And you start with that and you're like, wow, that's like really classic kind of horror in a way, but a sort of a different situation than you imagine. Night of the Living Dead, raised on stuff like that. Those are some of my kind of favorites. They're on TV. I'll keep watching them, but I typically will not seek them out. And I was looking this up. The movie that I'm thinking of is District 9.
Yes, District 9. Yeah.
District 9.
District 9 is really good too. More of more sci-fi, I suppose, but
yeah, he does some of that. He's more on our cyberpunk vein of things like Chappie and Elysium and some of those ones, I think it is. But there you go, folks. There's your recommendations. A whole bunch of them in time for Halloween. But moving on to our rage segment of the week. I need to follow up on something, and I can't believe Blizzard got me.
I got you.
Let's go.
Let's rage.
Now, Jess, if you will recall, not that long ago, I had been raging on this show about Diablo 4 and how Diablo 4 had the one and only true representation of Varian Wren's armor and Charlemagne. Not available to me as transmog in World of Warcraft, but they have it in Warcraft or in Diablo 4. And I couldn't believe that they did this to me. Well, lo and behold, credit to Blizzard, being the VIPs sitting at the crystal table that you and I are, Jez. You more so. You're probably in the VIP, but those of us that are in the VIP club that had access, and Blizzard provided me free of charge a key for Vessel of Hatred.
Oh, very cool.
Not only that, but it was like the full night. Well, the big deluxe version that was like $70-$80, whatever it was. So it came with a bunch of extra shit. Super nice of them. Very generous. I was pleasantly surprised that was something that was afforded to me, and many thanks to them, because otherwise, I probably wasn't going to play it. But I have dived in a little bit, and it is kind of cool. But this isn't about that. This is about how, with that, apparently, or I already had it, it came with some in-game currency for the shop. And I had just enough to get the Varian Wren armor and Charlemagne. And so you better damn well believe my barbarian is now running around with all of that on. And so you're like, Berzerker, it's a raid segment. Sounds like you actually got what you wanted and you got it for free. That's amazing. Well, you know what? I did. And then Blizzard, being Blizzard, they knew what I was doing. They knew what my timetable was. They knew that I had cashed in my chips and I'd gotten my transmog. And then the very next day, what did they do? They introduced the Lich King transmog set into Diablo 4 when I was out of money. I was out of platinum. I had no more resources. Would I have put that on my barbarian? No, because it doesn't go on that one. It can only go on a necromancer. So would it have been wasted? Yes, probably. But how could they do this to me, Jez? Right after I had just spent all of my in-game currency on this one thing that I wanted, and then they go and they release another. Look what they did. Every time, the old switcheroo.
Yeah. I got a feeling this episode's going to be dominated by microtransaction talk, given what's happened this week. But
what? No, of course.
but yeah, it has become a big pet peeve of mine as well. Actually, the fact that not necessarily that, because I kind of don't like the Warcraft stuff in Diablo. I feel like it's law breaking. And I
agree.
I feel like Diablo should be immersive as possible. I suppose maybe I'm old-fashioned or whatever.
It's turning into Heroes of the Storm now.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, like the one thing that's been bugging me about Diablo for a while now is just the fact that the store-bought cosmetics are way cooler than anything you can earn in game. Like I've been playing I played Vessel of Hatred in game a little bit, and I looked up all the cosmetics you could earn from the new raid kind of activity they've got in there, and it's just like it all looks like trash. It looks like leveling gear from WoW or whatever. It's just like, this is not good. That it's sort of like it's saying to me, the permanent rewards you get, the only permanent reward you get in Diablo is skins, and the best looking ones you just buy. So it's kind of like, well, what's the point of playing at all? Unless you really enjoy, following maxroll.gg's builds and then just whacking out numbers, because the gameplay is fun, but I feel like I've sort of hit the limit of everything the game has to offer, in terms of rewards and progression. So I don't know. I might write something about it actually, because I think it's something that I feel like in Blizzard's pursuit of margins, they've kind of forgotten why people actually play these kind of games. And it's to progress, and to Warcraft's credit, there's a lot of cool skins they've put in the game for the anniversary event, which we'll talk about in a minute, but I feel like even Blizzard might go down this route eventually, where they're just like, oh, the best stuff is now going to come from the store. And because at the end of the day, if people are paying for it, they're worth more than people who aren't paying for it. But I don't know. Diablo's gone way too hard in that direction, and I'm just scared it's just going to be the way things are now, I guess.
Well, I blame myself because clearly they're watching what I'm doing and releasing all of these skins based on when it's most inconvenient for me. So just watch what I do and then do the opposite. That's really what I'm saying here is, you know, you can never tell with these. You can never tell with these free lunches from Blizzard. There's always a catch. So
I do like
lunch. To your point, we do have a bunch of news to talk about and some other things. So why don't we go ahead, kick it off, and jump into our news. So this past week, I believe it was October the 22nd, the newest patch for World of Warcraft 11.0.5 was released into the wild, and we're going to kind of break this up a little bit into some more manageable bite-sized chunks because there is a lot of upset out there about this patch and a bunch of things that have happened. So let's just start at the top with the 20th anniversary event itself, which was billed as kind of the capstone for this patch and all of the, you know, stuff that you can do and earn and all those kinds of things. In the more recent past, anniversaries would pop up, go down in the caverns of time. Maybe there was some stuff to do. They had a band out there playing, which I haven't seen this year, which is kind of weird. Maybe it's because Samwise Didier is no longer there, and
no, it's in Blackrock Depths.
Where is it? Oh, it's in Blackrock Depths. Okay, all right, thank God. All right, I'll have to not just skip to the end on that one. You go down there, you can watch some cinematics, hitting some crystals, and there wasn't a whole lot there. A couple quests here and there. And so for the 20th, they've really tried to ramp it up. They want to have like a whole to-do with this anniversary that will make it last just for some length of time, because at least the information that we've been given is that the 20th anniversary event is going to run until January the 6th. So we've got time. This is going to be out for a little bit, folks. If you were looking forward to 11.0.7 or 11.1, it's going to be a minute. So just pace yourselves out there, which you may not have a choice. You may have to do that anyway. But they added a whole bunch of things, a bunch of activities. So just kind of running through them. Number one, right off the top, a lot of experience, a lot of XP buffs, which I think has been kind of typical in these events. But one of the rundowns that I saw is that if you combine certain things together, being the anniversary itself, that's 10%. Blessings from the Bronze Dragon Flight, that's another 10%. Up to 25% if depending on how many warband members you have max level. There's also a 10% from a war mode bonus, 10% from a Hallow's End, 10% from a Dark Moon Fair buff, and then characters under level 50 can get plus 10% from the draft of 10 lands. That's up to, I believe, 85% XP buff. So if you are so inclined to put all that together, you're just going to be ripping through levels even faster. So nice little side thing they got going on. But looking at the anniversary itself, you mentioned Blackrock Depths, new raid that has gone into place here. You have both, or all three, LFR, normal, and heroic. I've done it on LFR. Pretty fucking challenging on LFR. I only did the last part because there was a quest to kill Thorson at the end, and that's basically what I did. So I haven't seen the rest of it yet, which is why I haven't seen my beloved band. But thank you, Jess, for the hot tip. But this was a dungeon way back in the day, and now it's been revamped for this 20th anniversary. You've got a 10 to 15 player raid that it is. There are 8 bosses and 5 mini bosses. There's different gear depending on what you get, and from what I understand, it was hard enough with, I think they had to nerf it already. So definitely some challenges in there. There are some time warped relic coffer keys that you can get out of this depending on the difficulty that you complete the raid, and that's good for gear that you can trade in at a vendor. There's also the Chromie's Codex, revisiting the Gates of Encourage, which I think everybody's in agreement is not at all what we thought it was going to be, and seems to be something that people will not be running a lot, where it was billed as revisiting the opening. I think we all thought it was going to be revisiting the opening of the Gates of Encourage, when really you're just flying around following Chromie and killing some dudes, and then there's like a boss fight at the end or something. I did it one time and it was very underwhelming. I'm not gonna lie. I was not all that thrilled with this, but it's a scenario. You queue up for it. It's up to 20 players, and I don't know. There's a lot that I got out of that, but back at the Caverns of Time itself, the home base of operations, where there's a whole spread now. There's a whole fairground that's out in front of the opening of the Caverns of Time. It kind of reminds me of like how Brewfest is set up, where there's lots of tents and vendors and all kinds of stuff, and it's all in that little area right in front of the Caverns of Time. You have one of my favorites, the Mount Mania, which somebody on a stage, it runs at a certain time, and they'll jump on a mount, and then you try to copy that mount, and most of the time they're going to have mounts that you don't have, because they're pulling out some real rare shit on some of these runs. And I think of the however many they pull up, it's like 20 mounts or 15 mounts or something like that during each round of it that they do. I think the most I've ever had in one round was like 5, because there's just some real obscure shit going on. I think the one that people keep pointing out is the Zulian tiger that nobody's seen. You know, you can't get that for the last decade. So that's one that's out there. Of course, there's all kinds of achievements and different things tied to this. Storyteller, you can listen to Lore Walker Cho tell 3 different stories, and if you sit and you're around near the stage area, you can participate a little bit by throwing rotten tomatoes at certain points, or cheering or yelling, or for the Horde or for the Alliance, or whatever it is. And you know, it's quick, it's fun, it's easy, it's kind of, you know, kind of fun to relive certain little stories. Fashion Frenzy, it's like Trial of Style. Go in there and you got a category, and you got to run up to your transmog folks there and change into something, and then you vote for each other live. You got little badges, and you run around, you throw them on people, and people throw them on you. And yes, I did win the one time I did it, because you know your boy's rocking the transmog hard every day, everywhere we go. There's a pet corner. I definitely did not take up any pet battles because I suck at that. There's a bunch of other little vendors around that you can find, and they have different little fun things you can do. Like there's some portals you can take, and then you go to like Nagrand, and you can wield Frostborn and take a picture in front of this place. You know, just little inconsequential shit that you can do. There's also a secrets thing that's happening. This is kind of like the secrets that we had back in a patch. We had to go and find and do a bunch of stuff. There's this guest relations secret quest now, and nobody knows what the rewards are, but apparently you help this person, Alex, who's there under the big tent right in the middle of the whole Caverns of Time setup, and they'll give you things to do, and you gotta follow along and help find lost treasure and some shit. Nobody knows what it's for, but there's gonna be new clues released every so often. I think the next set of secrets comes out like November 4th. I think something like that. If you're like me and you avoid PvP at all cost, well, lucky us, Korak's Revenge has returned. So the one PvP thing I do every year is I do run my one Alterac Valley, just for nostalgia's sake. And this allows me to do that. There is a quest tied to this as well. And you know, listen, I love Alterac Valley. I always will. I suck at it most of the time, but it's a lot of fun to go back and see a lot of that. There are world bosses. The Dragons of Nightmare are back. Doomwalker, Azerghost, Lord Kazakh, Shaw of Anger, Archivon the Stone Watcher. You got a few of them right around there in Teneris. A few others you actually have to go out to their place where they are, like Dragons of Nightmare. Got to go find them back in their homes by the portals oftentimes. They some of them have rare mounts, which Jez, I don't know that I ever played this game more than Wrath of the Lich King. And I must have ran Archivon a million fucking times. I don't know how many kills I had on the game. I never got the reins of the Grand Black War Mammoth.
Oh, he drops that.
And I finally got him.
Oh, you got it?
I finally got him.
Congrats.
I finally got it. Yep. It popped up in the loot and I was like, no way. And I hit it and there's the achievement. Holy shit. Yep. So I can confirm these things are dropping. Shah of Anger drops the Heavenly Onyx Cloud Serpent, and Doomwalker drops the Illidari Doomhawk. So if you're looking for those things, there they are. But of course, what are you doing? Why are you running all this stuff? What's going on? Like, what? You're just doing it for fun? Yeah, I mean, some of it is just for fun, but you're also trying to earn another new currency, the Bronze Celebration Token, which is used to purchase a variety of anniversary-related items. Some of them being the in-game versions of anniversary awards that Blizzard employees get, like the shield and the helm and the sword. If you've ever seen when Blizzard employees get like their 5, 10, 15, 20-year service awards, they get like a physical version of these things. Well, this is now the in-game representation of some of that. There's also some pets and mounts, new and old, returning. And of course, the big one, the tier 2 armor sets, now upscaled for the modern day. And you basically have to purchase the first one at full price, and then you get a reduction in price on further sets. Don't know that I will buy anything beyond. Well, you know what? I will buy the Warrior and the Death Knight one, because the Death Knight one's pretty fucking rad. But in a nutshell, this is what the anniversary event is. There are weekly quests that award some of this new currency. There are other dailies that will come. I think some of it is intended to be more long-term. You continue to do it, but I'll be honest with you, Jez. I ran through it a couple days, and then I was like, I think I'm good. I don't know how often I'm actually going to come back for this. But have you had a chance yourself to jump in and kick the tires on some of this 20th anniversary activity? Yeah.
So I before the show, I was doing the Blackrock Depths raid. We cleared normal mode without dying once, I think, which is, I would expect that given our item level at this point. But it was fun, the loot was boring though, and all the old school textures. It's sort of like, I don't know, just felt kind of low effort, kind of. I feel like by now, we'd be starting to look at getting the second season through, maybe, or at least have an announcement of it. But I know they got the Warcraft Direct coming up. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of this event, I guess. I mean, I like the fact that we're getting the tier sets redone, because a lot of those tier sets look fantastic. Like if you're a paladin, for example, you've been waiting basically 20 years to get the HD Judgment set, one of the best sets they've ever designed, and it held up to this day. Just kind of looked, old because of the textures. I never really liked the Nemesis set for Warlocks, but the new set, the upscale one, looks a lot better. So it's like, oh well, I'm gonna go for that. But I feel kind of like you, where it's like all the events are kind of I'm probably gonna get the Warlock set and maybe the Death Knight set and then bounce, I think, because the pre-set looks ass. It looked ass back then, it looks ass now. And I don't really play any other classes, just Priest, Warlock, and Death Knight generally, so yeah, I don't know. I don't think this will go down in history as one of the remembered as one of the best events they've ever done ever, but it's not terrible, I suppose. It's the best compliment I can give it. It's not terrible. There you go.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the best assessment I've heard so far, is that it's not that it's bad. It's just, I don't know that if it meets the long-term goal that it's trying to set, or maybe that's just our own expectations or whatever it is. But even for the warrior tier 2 set, I don't even particularly like that one. I think it's goofy as shit, but I'm gonna get it because I'm a warrior and that's what warriors do. Now the Death Knight one, that legitimately looks cool because they didn't have Death Knights back then, so they had to come up with something new. And for all the classes that didn't exist back then, and I think they did a pretty good job on those. And for you viewers at home, listeners at home, people at home, if you're wondering or need to jot something down here about how many of these bronze celebration tokens you need to do the things, credit to Wowhead. They have a pretty handy breakdown of all of what you need. And if you don't have anything, if you're coming into this without any of the pets or mounts or past anniversary items, nothing, you're going to need a total of 485 bronze celebration tokens to purchase everything from the event. That's everything, top to bottom, total. And with weekly quests giving away 3 bronze tokens at a time, yeah, good luck. You're gonna be grinding that. Well, there's an achievement once you get 100 bronze celebration tokens, and then I think some dailies open up. So it will get faster. It always does, but that is a daunting number right now, considering I've done a whole bunch of what I've done, and I don't even think I have 20 yet. So we're looking a little ways down the road. If you do have all of the pets and mounts from past anniversary events, you'll only need 395 bronze celebration tokens. From there, to break all of that down, the first tier 2 set you buy costs 60 of these tokens. The second one is 40, and then everyone after that is 20. So you continue to get those discounts. So that's 320 total tokens for all of the sets. There's also some other pets and transmog awards and toys. That'll be a 75 total for those. And then all of the pets and mounts, 90 total. So it's a lot, and you're gonna have to remain dedicated for the entire patch. But man, unless it's tied solely to something we haven't seen yet, I feel like people are gonna burn out on this pretty quickly. Because like you said, it's not terrible, but it's also not like, man, I gotta get in every day and do this anniversary thing. I'm so fucking pumped. I gotta get this done, and I haven't heard one person say that. It's like, no. I went down there and watched some cinematics, and I rode around on a balloon, and I killed some world bosses. It's clear to me that they tried to make this something that was, 20th anniversary. It's a big fucking deal, and I don't know. It feels like it's a little stilted still at this point.
It's still kind of it's hard to justify like making content for an event which is basically it's gonna go away. So if I'm Blizzard and I'm thinking like what am I budgeting for right now, I put a small team on this event because ultimately the 20th anniversary is going to come and go and everyone will forget it ever happened, and really put my resources towards season 2, which I'm hoping will be of a far higher quality bar. And I think these kind of events have never been particularly exciting. I mean, like even when we even stuff like when people talk about end of expansion events or pre-expansion events and stuff, people always talk about the Wrath event as the one that everyone remembers, and that was like what 18, 17, 16 years ago, something like that. It's a long ass time, right? So the investment is clearly on going towards seasons and the campaign story quests and stuff like that. And I think
that's a great point.
I think it should.
That's a great point about it being temporary. That's something I think we all kind of forget about, including myself. That's a great point.
Yeah, it is what it is.
It is, and to continue down that path, 11.0.5 wasn't just that. There was other stuff, and it has not been particularly well received for a number of reasons. And Jez, I know that you're pretty well acquainted with this at this point, so would you mind sort of enlightening our audience as to some of the broader challenges that this patch has had up to this point.
Broader challenges in what context?
Well, it's just there's been a lot of game-breaking bugs. There's been balance issues. There's been stuff that was in previous, I think, PTR patches that didn't make it to the live that were supposed to, and then they had to hotfix. And we've talked before about with hero talents being kind of underbaked, and it sounds like with this 11.0.5, it sounds like there's more of this where the QA is not living up to what it needs to be, and folks seem to be really upset about the unpolished state of what they're getting. And I don't know, have you been experiencing any of that, or have you seen that out in your neck of the woods?
I'll be honest, I've been so busy at work that I haven't had a huge amount of time to dive in, and the discourse has been so dominated by a dinosaur-shaped elephant in the room. So a Brutosaurus in the room, I suppose you could call it. So I honestly, I missed some of this discourse about it being buggy and stuff. So you're gonna have to get me up to speed, I think, on this one.
Yeah, apparently, because I think this also shows a breakdown of where your player base is spending its time, because a lot of these bugs apparently were related to the raid. And right. Since I don't raid anymore, I didn't see a lot of this. There were issues with little things like class icons for certain abilities got swapped out for the wrong class entirely. And
right.
I think people at one point were able to level without dying. And it's just like some real wacky shit that happened.
Right.
And, they've been hot fixing it and patching it and doing all of these things. And of course I saw, the first thing I saw was some Bellular video that was like, I need to do better or whatever it was. And it was like the logo of the War Within, like broken in half. And I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, here we go again. So there's been a wider controversy, it seems, about the quality of what is coming out initially. And it seems to me that there is an expectation, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Listen, I have paid for a subscription now since February of 2007. That's how long I've been around. So I don't expect things to be perfect all the time on a live service game. I don't expect patches to even necessarily be 100% when they come out. And certainly if I was hard charging on a raid, trying to finish a raid, and there was some game breaking bug, and bosses, I think one of the things was like some bosses were going AFK. I'm sure I would be a little more upset than I am now.
Mm-hmm.
But it happens, and then they fix it, and then there's hot patches, there's whatever there is. I think about the employees themselves. I doubt they want to push out anything that's underbaked. And as you have highlighted many times, Jez, and this kind of dovetails into what you were talking about, there is a pressure from a business standpoint to make certain decisions. And those are always going to butt up against the designers, the programmers, the producers, the developers that make this game, who want things to be perfect and polished the Blizzard way that we all knew way back when. And people are like, well, the quarter is here and the quarter breaks here, and we need to hit these numbers here, or this revenue, or this whatever. And so we're pushing and we're doing these things. And we used to blame Activision all the time. Well, Activision is no longer there. It's Microsoft. And we all saw Microsoft coming in as our savior. And Jez, you have much more knowledge and experience with them than I think those of us now that have kind of come from the outside. But I think we always kind of expect that there's going to be now some push when it comes financially versus when it's actually ready. So I'm willing to give the grace to say, hey, they're doing the best they can, probably with the time frames that they've been given, and they're going to continue to fix it and be responsive to player feedback, because they have been. It's one thing I think they've been really good about. But to that end, over the last 2 weeks, I don't know what it is, and maybe again, this is all about quarter-driven profit, but there's been an inundation of pets and mounts and sales and all kinds of stuff that has popped up on the Blizzard store. Now, one of them is tied to a charity, tied to a player that is the focus of a documentary on Netflix that's really just a heartbreaking story. The Remarkable Life of, I think it's Ibelin.
Yeah.
Not quite sure how to say the name. There's a documentary on Netflix about this individual, and there's a cute little fox pet that's got like a hat, like a Sherlock Holmes type hat on him. But outside of that, it's, here's a mount pack. There's one. It's the Ice Murloc Funko Pop that comes with an in-game Murloc, Ice Murloc, or whatever it is. But there's also 30% off of game services, which I don't know, I may or may not take up. There's Hallow's End in-game store discounts. And then we don't talk about Bruto. No. Yes, we're gonna talk about Bruto. And then in the midst of all of this, they drop a $90 mount. Reigns of the Traders Gilded Brutosaur, which has an auction house and a mailbox on it. I think it's 90 here in the US. It's 60 over in
the UK, yeah.
I think over in the UK, and it's like 120 in Australia. I
was surprised it was 60 in the UK, because usually they don't bother to do conversions, but they were like, hey, actually, maybe we should do a conversion on this. So
I did notice that. I thought that was kind of funny, but here's the thing. I think, like a lot of us, if this is something that you choose to buy, this is not on the player. If you choose to buy this, if you have $90 that you want to spend on a mount that I don't know how on God's green earth you actually need this and these services so badly, like the auction house and the mail service, it's not that hard to get to either one of these things. But if you want to sit on a mountaintop somewhere and be able to do all your auction house overlording, then okay, cool. Like this is something you need. It looks cool. Like, don't get me wrong, it looks badass. Like, I think it looks amazing. And if you as a player want to have that, this is nothing on the player. But Jez, can you articulate why this might feel bad? This mount.
So there's multiple facets to this, right? First of all, like you touched upon how Microsoft was supposed to save us from Activision, and stop doing stuff like this. At the end of the day, Microsoft and Activision are publicly traded companies, so I think it was probably too much to hope for that they would stop doing stuff like this. And also, Blizzard's bonuses, their company bonuses, are tied to meeting targets. So, like, if they're coming up to Christmas and they're not hitting their targets or whatever set for them by, previously Activision and Microsoft, dropping a $90 amount is a great way to hit your targets so you can get your Christmas bonus, right?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect to consider as well. And I for one think Blizzard deserve their bonuses. So if this is how they can quickly push that over the line, then whatever. But at the same time, it's kind of getting irritating as a player. And when it's cosmetic, it's one thing, but this is not just cosmetic. It's a utility. It's got a mailbox on it. It's got an auction house on it. And before, when the auction house mount in the game, it was kind of, you could get it with a WoW token. I think the WoW token was available back in Battle for Azeroth, if I remember correctly. So it's not like this is the first time they've done it where you could basically buy a utility mount, because you can buy gold, you can convert the gold into and you can convert the token into Battle.net currency and that kind of thing, right? So it's not like it's new, but it's the first time they've put a $90 cosmetic utility mount in the store directly like that. So I think there's a sticker shock aspect to this.
For sure.
And I suppose like the other thing is, like, is this going to be a slippery slope? Are we going to get into a Diablo situation where eventually the best transmog sets come from there? Are we going to get into a situation where, there's fewer amounts to actually earn and more to buy, Because before it was kind of like, oh, this is just it was a light touch kind of thing, and that people kind of accepted it as a way to, they could beat inflation and, hit those bonuses or hit those revenue targets and keep Kotick and whoever else happy, right? But now we're in a different universe of Microsoft's invested $72 billion into this company, and they're going to invest more technically because they've got to do integrations. They're spending a lot of development time trying to bridge Battle.net and Game Pass, which is great for the consumer. Hey, I can get Diablo part of Game Pass, great. I'm playing Black Ops 6 right now, haven't had to pay $70. I can just get it in Game Pass. So, there's stuff there that is great for the consumer. But then it's also like, well, some of that money has to be made up elsewhere, right? Which is why Call of Duty is awash with skins, Diablo's awash with skins, and all these other games are kind of awash with skins. And it kind of reminds you, because gaming historically has been this sort of like... Sorry, I'm so sniffly right now. Gaming historically has been this kind of like... It's been an escape from all that bullshit. The bullshit of the real world where like, oh, I'm poorer than my boss, or I don't have as much money, or whatever. But like, when you log into World of Warcraft and you see a dude with a $90 mount, that's kind of like a reminder that there are people out there with more disposable income than you. Which is like, gaming was supposed to be an escape from this. And all the AAA games are pissing around and experimenting with this kind of thing right now. And the League of Legends had a huge amount of controversy last summer because they had like a $300 skin or something like that. I can't remember exactly how much it was. It was a ridiculous amount of money. But people bought it. People bought it a lot. And you got Call of Duty with not Call of Duty, Outstrike. They have like skins that are worth hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars, but they kind of get away with it because players set the value there. So it's like, well, if the players are valuing it at this high, then it's not really Valve's fault, right? But when Blizzard do it, they're kind of like, it's clear that a lot of the money, they're spending on art right now is going towards these skins, which are really for people with more money than other players. A lot of people out there would be like, well, I can only afford to buy the expansion, $70 expansion or the $50 expansion, whatever it is, the Vessel of Hatred. And I can't afford to buy all these cool ass skins because a lot of those skins are $20 or $25. I can't remember exactly how much.
Yeah, it's like $28.
Yeah, they ain't cheap. But I also appreciate the fact that developing a game in California is astronomically expensive. And I often see people like talk about, Black Myth Wukong, for example. Black Myth Wukong was one of the biggest games of the summer. It's a really big game. It's a gorgeous game, photorealistic with, AAA animations, visuals, and polished gameplay. And it cost $84 million to make. You're building that kind of game in California, you're looking at least $300 million, I would think. At the very, very least, So there is the geographical aspect and how wage inflation has impacted Silicon Valley, because I know Blizzard's not exactly in Silicon Valley, but it's all those companies that base themselves in California for the tax breaks or whatever. There's a huge amount of competition for software engineering down there, so that pushes wages up, and there's the expertise is in that area, which pushes the wages up overall, right? Which means like everything gets more expensive to make, which means that we have to fund it by buying skins. But there's also another aspect to this, and it's kind of freaking me out actually as a Xbox journalist. It's that for the next fiscal year, they have tied Satya Nadella's pay packet, his incentives, to the Microsoft Gaming's revenue growth.
And who is that?
Satya Nadella is the CEO of Microsoft, and it's obviously gaming at Xbox and Microsoft. It's called Microsoft Gaming now. The entity that owns Activision, Xbox, and Bethesda is called Microsoft Gaming. And before, shareholders didn't give a shit about what they were doing with the gaming. They saw it as a side project. They saw it as like this little weird little thing that Microsoft did on the side, almost as a way to, you know, interest software engineers and hardware engineers and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. But shareholders didn't give a crap when Xbox cost no money. But Xbox just spent $71 billion on Activision, you know, and they've invested a ton of money in this. So you've got a lot of shareholders now and who are like more engaged in how this investment is going. You know, is this going to be ultimately a waste of money? Is that not $71 billion that could have been spent on artificial intelligence? Could that have bought them OpenAI, for example? And because obviously AI is dumb right now, but a lot of tech investment right now is being flooded towards AI because the assumption is that AI is the next big thing. You know, it's going to be driving, you know, business solutions for a lot of companies. It's also going to be, you know, used in entertainment. Disney's about to announce an AI development initiative, which is, I think, is ill-advised. But hey, you know, it's where all the hype is right now. So investors are going to be like, is the bet on Activision actually a smart bet to have made? Could this money not have been spent better elsewhere on cloud technology, on artificial intelligence and whatever, right? So there's a lot more scrutiny now. And to that end, the board of directors has tied Microsoft Gaming's revenue growth to Satya Nadella, the CEO, and other executives. They've tied their annual compensation to if Microsoft Gaming grows. So if Microsoft Gaming doesn't grow, then Satya and Phil and all the C-suite people are going to get paid less. And so they also have an incentive to make that investment work there. And I think the $90 amount is a direct symptom of that aspect. I think eventually when they've paid off what they invested in it, I think things will maybe settle down a little bit. I'm being naive here. Probably, but because hey, if people accept $9 amounts now, they always will, right?
Yeah.
But I do think there is the reason this is coming in so hot and so quickly is because of these kind of aspects, right? So they've got to prove that gaming is a smart bet for the future for Microsoft and its investors, and that's ultimately like that's their job. That's Satya's job. That's Phil Spencer's job. It's to keep the shareholders happy. But I still think the backlash is useful here because if we just sat around and didn't push back on this stuff, they'd just run riot all over it, right? They'd go crazy. And if it has to be a balance, it has to be sort of like, you know, if we complain about it and make them, you know, they might think twice about doing it more because it could cost them money if they start being super greedy. People might walk away, you know. But again, I'm being naive here because FIFA Ultimate Team's been doing it for decades and no one cares. And other games have been nickel and diming their players for years and years and years and no one cares. But I think people won't accept a $90 store mount if the game itself suffers. So could they have gotten away with a $90 store mount during Shadowlands? Probably not. I think that they are riding a wave of positivity right now where people are like, well, War Within's been pretty good so far, and so we'll let them have this one. But I think the backlash is useful, and we shouldn't just accept it. We should keep them on their toes and be like, well, you know, if you are going to do this kind of shit, when I want to see how you're investing in the game and how you're investing in us as players, because, you know, if you're not investing in us as players, then I ain't going to stick around to buy you $90 fucking dinosaur Brutosaurus mount, you know? So
it is a tall order.
In short, it's a load of business bullshit, basically, I think.
Yeah. Well, for those of you out there that have some disposable income that you'd like to pay, there is a $90 amount out there, like you said. And like we mentioned as well, there is the amount that is tied to at least something you might feel good about by plunking down $20 for the Fox, the Reven, I think it's the Reven or the Reven, Fox pets supporting Duchenne muscular dystrophy, Cure Duchenne, freaking hell, what's it called? Oh, it's a nonprofit, and it's tied to the
profits are going to charity.
There you go. Charity. Thank you. Good Lord. Man, my fucking brain is fried today. You can feel good about, maybe plunking down $20 for that, or, listen, you got $90. You're like, I got to have this giant dinosaur. I'm going to do it. On, it's kind of a similar parallel vein. You're talking about how we talk about exclusivity, right? That's part of the big, my long running feud with Diablo 4 and Warcraft shit that's in there. And, we're talking about stuff that's only on the store, and technically you can earn it, but you can't. And then last time we were here, we kind of talked about some other tabards and other things that you had to like sign up for a grocery store mailer account, like just kind of some of that stuff. Well, now we have one that you can't earn this in game, as far as we know. There is about to launch here in the next couple of weeks a huge Mountain Dew Dorito Rockstar super extravaganza promotion, and between Diablo, Warcraft, and a bunch of other non-Blizzard games, there's going to be all kinds of stuff that's going to be, not given away, but is going to be part of these promotions as rewards. And while there are many for Diablo 4 and for World of Warcraft, the one I think that's driving me the most crazy is some time ago, the data miners had found something called the Hate Forged Blaze Cycle. And it's another motorcycle type mount, and this thing's fucking crazy. It's got like a big steel horn sticking out the front, and it's a pretty badass, crazy looking mount. Well, the only way any of us are going to be able to get it is if we buy a shit ton of Mountain Dew game fuel.
You have to grind Mountain Dew, or could you get lucky? Just get it.
We're gonna have to grind Mountain Dew, because I guess the way that it works is for World of Warcraft. I guess there's a bunch of different stuff, right? And World of Warcraft is gonna be featured on the Mountain Dew game fuel stuff. But there's Mountain Dew, Rockstar, Doritos, and then various varieties within. And then there's gonna be codes on the packaging, and you have to turn that in and bank these points at DoritosDoRockstar.com. So if you get enough points, that's
Xbox all over, man.
You'll it sounds familiar and looks familiar. You'll be able to turn or redeem these points for rewards. And for World of Warcraft, there's something called a Thrillbot 9000, a Chillbot 9000, a Bot Wrangler's Violet Apron, a Bot Wrangler's Crimson Apron, the Hate Forged Blaze Cycle, and Lil Ragnaros, which you can't actually get that by other means. But this, I mean, it feels bad, because I'm not going to drink any of that stuff. I'm an energy drink fiend. Don't get me wrong. People that know me, especially Rommel, listen to this, he knows I'm an energy drink fiend. I have been forever. Ghost is my brand of choice these days, mostly because it's like 5 calories and no sugar, and like I'm trying to at least feel like I'm doing something half healthy when I drink these fucking things. But unless I'm gonna drink a shit ton of Mountain Dew Zero, there's no way I'll ever be able to earn this. Not to mention the fact, I'm pretty sure this is just a US thing.
Yeah, it's incredibly frustrating. It's United States only. So like, I really want the bottle.
I don't know what the rest of y'all are doing.
We're crying about it, probably.
It's crazy.
I think some of this shit will show up in the trading post probably eventually, but
you think so?
Yeah, I think so. But Microsoft is like, they've got like high level friendships between Microsoft and Doritos and Mountain Dew, because they always do shit with Mountain Dew. Like, I think there's also a Game Pass thing with Mountain Dew and Doritos right now, where you can just you can get like codes for Game Pass, or win an Xbox, or get random games like Metaphor, games that Microsoft.
We had the game fuel in World of Warcraft. I want to say this was like 10-15 years ago. We had the bot, and you could fill it up with like the red or the blue game fuel, and then they would fight each other. I still have all that original shit from way back then. So it's not like we haven't had it, but that seemed to be a much wider release, and it was way easier to get. However it was, I don't even remember now. But
I do love Doritos and Mountain Dew. I really do. But goddamn,
I'm not gonna lie.
We don't have it here, so I can't participate. So I'm upset.
I'll drink Code Red like a motherfucker. I found one of those 12 packs like it's nothing. I used to do that in college. When that first came out, that was my drink of choice, and I could drink a 12 pack in a night. Yeah, how healthy was that? It wasn't. So, you know,
I really love
I have it within me, but
like sugar-free Mountain Dew is like so nice. But when I drink it, I feel like I'm probably getting a tumor. You know.
I mean, listen, there's gonna be in the decades to come in future history, there's gonna be all this research about us nudniks that were drinking all this crap for all these years and like somehow shortened our lifespans by X amount because, you know, we should have done this instead of this. But, you know, and then they're gonna pull up, well, you know, at one point they had to drink a whole bunch of Diet Zero Dew because they had to get the Hate Forged Blaze cycle in World of Warcraft. That's gonna show up in a research paper someday. So again, more things out in the real world connecting to our sort of online activity here that is becoming more inescapable, but also more challenging for people that just play the game. You know, it's a different world. And I think part of it is accepting that this is the landscape now. You know, long gone are the days when, you know, you bought Mega Man 2 and everything you needed about Mega Man 2 was in that cartridge that you put in your Nintendo.
Dude, the thing is, these kind of games still do exist. You know, like Baldur's Gate 3, for example. I was thinking about this the other day, how tired I am of you know, just not having the game just not being just the game. It's also like all the other bullshit that comes with it, battle passes and all that kind of crap, right? And I've tried to adapt and get into that universe. I've done Diablo battle passes, and I've jumped through the hoops they want me to jump through to try and, you know, fit in, I guess. But it's just so much better when you play a game that doesn't have all that bullshit to think about. Like and those games still do exist. Like Stalker 2's my most anticipated game of this year is Stalker 2, and yeah, it's got some pre-order bonus stuff, but it's also like it's not going to have a battle pass. It's not going to have anything else. It's going to have traditional expansions and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really excited about that. And I was thinking like as well with Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3 was just, yeah, it had an early access period, but the game was just the game. You play it, you love it, you finish it, and that's it. You know the bullshit to deal with. It's just that I suppose
nothing else.
Yeah, pretty much. I don't think it was. That's the thing. It's like, but it's indie developers driving that.
I was gonna say that's got to be rarer by the day, and it's got to be smaller studios.
Yeah, these are like these independent studios that just have a passion for it, and I think a lot of the corporate level companies, they are too margin growth minded, and because of the way the inflation wave has been, they've looked for ways to nickel and dime us even more than usual. Whereas like the smaller companies, they don't have as many overheads, I think. So they don't have overheads, and they don't have stakeholders or shareholders, so they can just focus on the passion and stuff like that. I don't know. I'm rambling now, but it's
all right. It's all right.
It's a brave new world, I guess.
It is. There you go. A brave new world. So keep your eyes open. You know, opinions abound on these sorts of things, but keep your eyes open for that upcoming promotion if that's something that suits you, and you already buy this stuff anyway. Who knows? You know, just get some nice stuff on the side, or I don't know. You'll find it later on the trading post, as just said, because this stuff just end up being there quite often. In the meantime, right now we do have one of my all-time favorite events going on in World of Warcraft. As I've talked about before, it's Brewfest, and then right into Brewfest, now we have Hallow's End. Hallow's End started just a couple days ago, October 25th, as we record this, and it runs until November 8th, so it is a short time run. Hallow's End has been around forever. Headless Horseman, who you heard at the top of this show, always love to play that when it's Hallow's End time. Chasing him, trying to get the loot-filled pumpkins, trying to get his mount. After many years, I finally got it. Jez, do you have it?
I don't have his mount, but isn't it low poly? I don't really care about it. If it's low poly, I won't get it.
It is. Yeah. It is low poly.
I want the.
It is old school.
Yeah.
It's not like the upgraded one from Karazhan. That one's badass.
They should update all that shit. If it's part of an event, a yearly event, update the fucking model. You know.
They're too busy making a $90 Bruto. What are you talking about?
God damn. Yeah.
Yeah, it's It is. I do question the wisdom on that one because it is such a rare mount and it's so great. But maybe you're getting it because it's old school looking. But amongst that, there's also a new transmog set, which is I think a different colored version of the patched harvest golem. Is this one, and it's part of the same sort of golem look. There was one on the auction house. I think it's this month, October. This one's a slightly different color. And you can get pieces of that at a time as you kill the Headless Horseman. I almost have mine fully collected. The drops were pretty generous. I've run through it on 4 characters now on 1.5 days. And so far, those drops have been pretty generous. Arphis. We all remember Arphis, the little ghost pup that appeared, I think it was last year. The drop rate on that, I think, is still really fucking low. And I don't know that I'll ever see that. But outside of hitting a few candy buckets, maybe throwing some stuff at the Wicker Man once or twice and cleaning up some stank out in front of Stormwind, I don't know how much I'll be doing other than queuing up for Headless Horseman runs and just blazing through that on as many accounts as I can. For you, Jez, will you continue to try even for the low poly? Is that totally out, or are you engaged in the Hallow's End activities in any meaningful way?
Nah, I'm not interested. I don't really like the seasonal events that much. Generally speaking, the reward.
That's an old school player right there.
Yeah, the awards are like the rewards are just rarely compelling. I think if they want these events to actually be more engaged with. I mean, there's always going to be players that grind them every year, but I think if they did things like upscale the rewards you get into, like they've done with the tier 2 sets, they get way more engagement. But hey,
the Arphis pet is pretty high res.
Is it really?
It looks pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie, that's a legit looking dog. It's got a metal ass collar on too. I think he'd look good next to your warlock.
Yeah, maybe.
Really? Maybe. Yeah, you might have to think about this. So. Be that as it may, you have until November 8th, if that is something of interest to you. And then, Jez, we got finally, word on the next big to-do for Blizzard and World of Warcraft at large. I felt recently how odd it is not to be getting ready for a BlizzCon. There's been so many mornings when I've woken up and I'm like, ooh, BlizzCon. No, BlizzCon is not coming up. So it's still a little strange for us not to have that coming. But what we do have is the long foretold of Warcraft Direct. So we have this 30th anniversary event that's coming up on November the 13th. I think it's a Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So not something we're going to get the crew together for on the weekend and smoke some delicious meats. I'm just going to be sitting in my office, I guess, with this on one of my monitors while I'm busy working. There's going to be some updates about all things in the Warcraft universe, Hearthstone, Warcraft Rumble, World of Warcraft. So we'll see what's going on there. They're also going to be putting up a stream of the concert that they filmed in, was it Switzerland? Last month, I think it was. World of Warcraft, 20 years of music. I haven't heard anything from it, but we all know the music in this universe is fucking amazing, so it can't be bad. I'm a little surprised that it's just getting dropped the way that it is. And we haven't been given too much in terms of what's gonna come, although apparently devs are online on social media saying you better not miss it, there's gonna be stuff. For you, Jez, looking into your crystal ball, what do you think we're gonna get out of this Warcraft Direct stream?
Surely it's gonna be the next season, I would think. Probably announce the next season coming in January or something along those lines. Continuation of the story, I suppose. There's been some hopium I've seen flying around that there could be like one thing that people said they should do is remake Warcraft 3 Reforged, like Warcraft 3 Reforged, Reforged.
Reforged.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I don't think they're gonna go back to that. But I do know.
Why would they do that?
Microsoft really highly values the strategy genre. Like they invest a ton in Age of Empires, and they've done really well with it. Like Age of Mythology re-release was really huge this year for them. So I know they want to do stuff with StarCraft. So getting Warcraft 3 Reforged sort of, I don't know, fix more maybe. Because I know they have done a ton of work on it, and there are people playing it again. But some content for that would probably be cool to see. But I just somehow doubt it. But we'll see. You know, I think they've said it's going to be Warcraft Rumble and World of Warcraft related mostly.
I thought Warcraft Rumble was like dead.
Nah,
Is that
it's still going. What it was they closed the team that was responsible for launching the game, and now it's kind of gone into this live ops kind of thing. So the team shrunk, you know, but they're still putting content out for it. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see like a Warcraft Reforged, Warcraft Rumble expansion pack announced, or new season announced for that, or something like that, just to maybe give it some press or whatever. But it's not been a huge game, you know. I think they were trying to do it like I can't remember the name of the game it emulates. Is it Crash Royale or something? Clash Royale, Crash.
Oh, Clash of Clans.
Yeah, I don't think it's Clash of Clans, but it's in the Clash.
It's all news to me.
I think. It hasn't been as big as they probably would have hoped, but it's still a pretty fun game. I kind of stopped playing it because it's one of them. It's like a huge money sink. You know, you pretty much got to spend money to get anywhere in the game, or be willing to grind non-stop all the time, all day, forever. And I ain't willing to do either of those.
Yeah, I definitely fell off on that myself.
Yeah.
So I'm sure it'll be interesting to see what that is. But Hearthstone, they've made so many expansions for that. I imagine it'll probably be more of that. But for World of Warcraft, I'm hoping that we get something at least a little bit beyond 11.1. Like, and we all know what's coming, and maybe we get maybe we get one of those full-on cinematics, and that's enough. And like, all right, we're going to an Undermine or whatever the fuck it is we're going next.
I would be so hype if it's Undermine.
Or like, going to Koresh again or something. People seem to think like goblins and ethereals play a role into the future of where we're going, and I don't know. I'm still waiting to go, I guess, to the backside of Azeroth because there's some shit going down.
I did notice that there's some new NPCs in Dornegal who dwarfs. I think they're new because I don't remember seeing them before. Discussing like, the goblins found some new crystal off in the sea on what's it called? The crystally place, Halifal. So that could be a hint that there's going to be some kind of island in the sea, the underground sea there. But maybe they think Undermine is big enough to justify a whole expansion around. Maybe it is. I don't know, but would people be interested in doing another underground expansion again after this one? I kind of feel like
that's a good question.
If you're going to do Undermine, you might as well just make it a patch in the underground expansion, I would think. But they know better, I suppose. We'll see.
Let's hope. It's with a great launch, and then now things are kind of middling a little bit, and there's definitely some grumbling once again in the community. I'm hoping that by the time this hits and we see what it is and come out of it, that people will be happier and feeling good about the direction that things are heading in, and we'll find out. And this is why we're delaying our next episode until after. We'll be recording the weekend after this comes out, so we'll be able to talk about it and kind of give our thoughts and opinions, and hopefully they did something big, but we'll see. So if you're looking to check that out, November 13th at 10 a.m. Pacific time is when all of that is apparently going to drop, and I look forward to seeing what that is. All right. We got one more item that I want to touch on today. And first, I want to absolve Jez of any responsibility in anything that I'm about to say or do. This is purely me. This is purely me doing this for the sake of my own self and my own thoughts and my own needs, wants, desires, whatever. So it is not just the 20th anniversary for World of Warcraft. This is also representing the 9th anniversary show for this podcast, Unshackled Fury. It was, about 10 days ago was the 9th anniversary. I didn't really have anything big planned. I just wanted to do our show like normal, and hopefully next year for the 10th we'll get a big guest or do something fun, or I'll be working on it. Jez and I'll figure something out for the 10th anniversary next year. But it is the 9th anniversary of Unshackled Fury, and whenever I get to sort of this time of year, this mid-October, it's always a time for me to reflect on this show and, you know, what it is, what it means to me, and sort of the purpose that it serves. And while this is primarily a World of Warcraft show, this has also served since its very inception as part diary for me. And it's a way for me to get shit out of my brain and to just fucking shoot it out there into the world. And I don't know. It's just something that I've always felt the need to do, and it's part of the reason why I've continued this show, is just out of very selfish need to do that. And so I recognize that what I'm about to say and do may result in some of you deciding no longer to listen to this show, that this is the line that you don't want anybody to cross, and it's a bridge too far. Pick a euphemism. And I respect your choice to decide, fuck Berzerker, fuck that show, I'm never going to listen to this again, and delete and unfollow and whatever. You absolutely have that right, and I thank you for being here as long as you were prior to this moment. But we're at a real inflection point in terms of our history, and particularly here in the United States, where we have an election coming up that is monumental in a way that I cannot even overstate in any way. And I know that a lot of people come to this landscape, World of Warcraft podcast, whatever, and like, fuck, man, I'm just trying to escape. And I hear you, and I get it. And if this is where you stop, then this is where you stop. And I completely respect that choice. I see a lot of the social media channels for people that follow this show and follow me, and I know what many of you support and that you will not like what I have to say, and I understand that. I can appreciate that. I really went back and forth on whether or not I was going to say anything at all, but if I have any kind of reach at all, then I need to use this space appropriately to say what I feel is important, even if it has nothing to do with World of Warcraft and Blizzard or anything. For me, when it comes to politics, I have absolutely reached my saturation point. I think like most people have. Every time I see news alerts and different things, I just feel like that shock of adrenaline that, you know, some shit's breaking loose. There's, you know, all kinds of fallout and other political events outside of the U.S. that are catastrophic. We have humanitarian crises like no other right now in other places. It's an intense time, and that's understating it quite a bit. But I've reached my saturation point, and I have to sort of step out of all the social media that I see, the news I see. I have to step back at this point myself, but this will be my punctuation point on it all, is me giving my piece, because typically I don't talk about politics on this show. I don't talk about politics on Twitter because it doesn't usually serve any good. You just get a bunch of hive mind fucking craziness yelling and screaming at you, and that's not what any of this is supposed to be. A little more background about myself that I've never shared before. For me personally, politically, I grew up in a conservative household. I was initially registered as a Republican. I was until 2004. And I've been no party preference ever since, because I didn't want anybody telling me how to think. It's kind of always been sort of my thing. If you followed this show, I have my own thoughts about stuff, and that is as true in the real world as it is here about World of Warcraft. And I have always tried to find a balance point in terms of information and understanding of what's going on in the world, and not being jaded by one particular lens or another. Those of you that know me personally, you know that politics is part of my professional life. Like, as a job, I am involved in it every day. I deal with politicians every day here in California, nonetheless. So believe me when I tell you, I probably know more about the politics of this state than most people you're going to come across, if any, in this space. And I'm eyes wide open about that too. I'm not here to tell you that, you know, everything that we do is great and perfect, because it certainly isn't. I directly work for the governor of this state, Gavin Newsom, and I disagree with quite a lot of what he does and says. And I say all of that to say, over the time that I've done this show, I hope that I have earned your trust. I hope that you understand that I come to things with an open mind and trying to understand, again, that balance point, and not be guided by one political philosophy or another. I consider myself to be a bit center left, I think is probably the best way to say it. In my professional life, in this capacity, I have worked with Kamala Harris's office. I have worked with her, and I know her to be a smart and capable person. All of this bullshit about how she's dumb or stupid or whatever, I stress to you, this is so far from the truth. It's insane to me, and I get it. If you've never met her, you don't know her. Most people haven't. How the fuck would you? You know, you see what you see. I knew her through her capacity as the Attorney General of this state. I voted for her before. You know, she's a senator of the state, and she's been around in California politics for a number of years in this capacity, and I have never known her to be someone of, you know, ill repute. And I know there's all this stuff about, you know, fucking Willie Brown, which is hilarious to me, but none of that matters. That's what I'm here to tell you. None of that matters. The campaigning is different than the governing, and it's hard to separate the two at times, I know. And there's so many falsehoods out there. And I'm not here to debate them all, because it's pointless. The one thing I do want to take up, though, in the midst of what I'm saying, is I hear a lot of talk about the trans community and how it's used as a cudgel. You know, that they're trying to sneak into women, you know, girls' bathrooms and like all this just stupid shit. In the time that I've had this show, and if you've listened long enough, you know, I have had 2 trans guests on this show. One's been here more than once. One being who you used to know as Frasley, goes by Jay, and Desma Fisto, who also goes by Jess nowadays. I've seen the struggles of these individuals. I've seen what they've had to go through with their family, with their lives, with dealing with medical procedures and insurance and the government. And you're not going through that because it's just fun. You're not going through that just because you're trying to get access to a girl's bathroom. That's not what any of this is about. And to see them being used as some sort of other that is dangerous, and it's like the drag queens being around children. If you've ever seen a drag show, you'd know how fucking ridiculous that all of that talk really is, because these are some of the smartest, most creative people on the planet, and to equate trans people and drag queens with pedophiles, it shows you have no idea what you were talking about. And so, among all of the other things that are said out there, that is one point I wanted to take up because I find it particularly disgusting how that is being utilized in some of the political ads I've seen specifically. So here's the point that I'm getting to ultimately. Yes, I think you should vote for Kamala Harris. If you live in Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, or Georgia, you're in a swing state, and I beg you to vote. Beg you to vote for Kamala Harris. And this isn't because, I met her and I like her or whatever. No. This is more because the other guy is one of the most vile motherfuckers on this planet. And if you don't see that, then I can't help you. But I'll say that anybody who lies about 9/11 and their supposed involvement and what they did to make themselves look good as much as this individual does, that's all I've ever needed to know, let alone everything that's happened since. But if you are in one of these swing states and you're on the fence or you're not sure, you weren't going to vote or whatever, get your ass off the couch and get out there and vote. The Republic isn't going to fall because Trump becomes president again if that happens. But the trajectory that we are all going to be on will be catastrophic globally. And I don't say that lightly. I don't say that because I'm trying to be hysterical and whatever. I say this as somebody who works in this field, who sees what I see as the experiences that I do. Kamala's not going to be perfect. Nobody is. She's going to fuck up. She's going to make mistakes. There's going to be things that I'm like, oh my God, why did you do that? I can't believe I went on my podcast and vouched for you. Like, that's going to happen. But this isn't about the ideal candidate. This is about finding the best bite on a shit sandwich. None of these bites are going to be the one that you want, and none of them are going to be the greatest thing you ever had. But there's going to be at least one piece that's more crust than shit. And that's the one that we're trying to find here, to be honest with you. And I think Kamala Harris will be okay. I don't know that she's going to be the greatest thing ever, but she's going to be better than the alternative. We cannot go back. We cannot support a fascist regime. We cannot support the kind of dictatorial leanings that we see from Trump. We cannot do it. And if you've made it this far into this podcast, bless your heart. I love you for it. And you could be shaking your head and saying, no, all of this is wrong and I'm full of shit. And you are free to do so. And you don't have to like Kamala at all. And there are plenty of good Republicans out there, and this isn't about that. There's plenty of good people in both parties that are trying to serve the greater good. But this one guy, I'm telling you, we put him back in power. A lot of people are going to be hurt, and a lot of people are going to die. People are going to lose their lives. We've already seen it with what happened after Roe v. Wade was undone by the Supreme Court. And there's only more to come. And I beg of you, my fellow country folk, get your ass off the couch and go vote. Please vote for Kamala Harris. I have no other power than this other than my voice on this podcast. But I could not in good conscience let this episode go out without saying something finally. And this would be the only thing I'm saying about it. You want to come back and argue with me, you're welcome to scream at me wherever you want. I'm not going to engage because at this point, I'm done. I'm checking out until after the election is over. I know how close it is. I know what it looks like. We're on a knife's edge, and it's going to fall however it's going to fall. As a straight middle-class white guy, no matter what happens, I'm probably going to skate through better than most. This isn't about me. This is about our trans friends. This is about our friends, that are not part of the majority. This is about our allies around the world. This isn't even just about our country. This is about everyone. And you have a power right now, especially those of you in those states, you have a power right now to affect something real, something tangible. Because if something goes bad, you sat out and did nothing, believe me, you're going to regret that shit. And there are people that are going to vote for his ass. They're going to regret it just like they did in 2016. And some people will always believe that he's the savior. I'm telling you, he's not. He's a lying sack of shit. And yeah, you can say all politicians are liars and whatever, but there was a level that is different. And so one last time, please go vote. Go vote. And if you listen to this after the election has happened, well, then you'll know what the outcome is and whether this effectuated any help or not. But I appreciate you all for continuing to listen to this show as long as you have. If you're checking out at this point, totally understand. But in good conscience, I could not let this go. So my apologies to Jez for potentially putting us into some sort of hot water. But again, I absolve him of all responsibility in this. This is totally on me. And thanks again. I appreciate you all. So with that, Jez, I think we've done enough damage for one episode. So for those who don't already know, where can the good people find you on the internet?
You can find me at Jez Corden on Threads and Twitter and all those other places. You know, at least if the right candidate wins, that is. Otherwise, Russia's probably going to blow me up. But that's where you can find me. And yeah, I suppose that's about it.
There it is. Well, once again, my thanks to all of you for listening, and thank you for supporting this show. And remember, you can always follow me and this show on Twitter at Berzerker Rage, where you're free to yell at me there, and Unshackled_Fury, where you're free to yell at us there too. On Blue Sky at Berzerker and Unshackled Fury, which has picked up quite a bit recently, as well as on Twitch at Unshackled Fury and Real Berzerker. You can always join our Discord, links for which are in the profile of the show on Twitter, and on our bonus roll page. Feel free to contact the show with your questions, comments, or otherwise through any of those resources or unshackledfury.com, and you can find this show wherever you get your podcasts. So once again, thank you for listening. Remember to keep your swords wet and your banners high, and we'll see you next time. Farewell.